Another topic that I talk about is how I became an accidental advocate for people with dementia, and then it's really turned into human rights and disability rights activism. I wrote a story for university which was meant to be a travel journalism piece that turned into a living with dementia piece because I was visiting this new place called Dementia, and that piece ended up being published in a magazine, and from that I was asked to start talking about what it was really like living with dementia, and from there it's kind of turned into a new career. But the advocacy has gone more from speaking about dementia to actually really being an activist about the rights that people with dementia have, and trying to understand why someone with a stroke or a head injury is offered rehabilitation and supported to go back to work or to live a better quality of life if they're 80 and not working, and why are people with dementia being sent home only to die. So that became a rights issue for me, and I'm an ex-nurse. I put on my ex-nurse's hat and thought, well, what would I have done had I had a stroke? And then I thought, what would the profession have done had I had a stroke? I know that I would have been given brain injury rehab, stroke rehab. I know that I would have been supported to go back to work. So then I got really a bit cranky about why I wasn't supported to go back to work or to stay at work. And the university very easily supports me to keep studying at the level of a PhD student, and yet the healthcare sector still really only supports going home to die. And that is a human rights issue. And there are many articles in the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities that apply very much to people with dementia. There's kind of this disconnect within not just the community but the health sector in general, that people who are still high functioning with dementia can't possibly have dementia. And so that for me has been one of my main driving forces. Not having enough people with dementia speaking around the world and speaking out about our rights has been another thing that's kept getting me out of bed. So some days I work very long hours, get up very early, and I've been bullied a few times for speaking up about dementia rights. And you do get tired of activism's a hard job, and people like Martin Luther King are my complete heroes. Dementia's taught me about the sense of otherness, and it's a very unjust world currently for people with dementia, and living with dementia and trying to live well with it's a bit like a duck or a swan on a lake. It looks really easy and calm on the surface, but below I'm paddling quite hard some days even to speak, even to find a word to speak. And just like the swan or the duck, if I stop working, stop advocating, stop studying, just like if that duck stopped paddling, the duck would sink. That's actually what happens to people with dementia. We need to be supported to work harder so that we maintain functioning for as long as possible.